Okay, people, oil expected to hit $200 a barrel, World War III, and a staged alien invasion incoming. Sounds like quite a lot on the plate, right? Well, wait just a second there, bucko, because the DIC's got something else up their sleeve too. A new heavily mutated COVID variant has been detected in 25 states. Oh man, they got some nerve with this one. Can your new COVID variant wait just a damn second, please? We're trying to fight a world war here during a total energy collapse. The new COVID variant is called cicada. It earned the nickname because BA3.2 is an offshoot of the BA3 variant, which hasn't circulated widely for nearly 4 years, lying dormant as cicadas usually do. And it's funny they picked that name too, huh? Cicada. Because in the Bible, what shows up right before things fall apart? Plagues. Swarms of insects covering the land, blocking out the sun, eating everything in sight. The symbolism is interesting, okay? A variant named cicadas. But wait, remember 2 years ago? There were headlines everywhere talking about trillions of cicadas emerging all at once, something that only happens every couple hundred years. And mixed into that were these so-called zombie cicadas, infected with a fungus that takes over their bodies. I'm talking about a parasite that eats away at their abdomen, replaces it with this white fungal mass, and the insect just keeps going like nothing happened. Still flying around, trying to mate, except now it's spreading the infection to everything it comes into contact with. The fungus actually alters their behavior, makes them hyperactive, hypersexual, even tricks them into mimicking the opposite sex just to lure in more hosts. Basically turns them into walking, flying delivery systems for that infection. Zombie cicadas, people. Fast forward 2 years and now we got the cicada variant. Maybe all those boosters are leading up to this moment right here. Vax payload set to go off, turning all those injected into human zombie cicadas. The injected will be the infected. Now we see an infinite amount of posts just like this right here on the New York Post. Everything you need to know about the new highly mutated cicada COVID variant. Look at the picture they use too, like comparing a sick person to a damn cicada. And the funniest line of all, from the always and forever baffled doctors here, this one is comedic gold. And it's off one of these articles here. It says, "We don't know yet if the cicada variant can evade the vaccine, but we're worried that it can," warned Dr. Mark J. Kahn with the Kirk Kerkorian School of Medicine. There's no way that's an actual school. Kirk Kerkorian. Good Lord, it sounds like some kind of slur, right? I'm not going to say it here, but when I first read it, I was going to say it. But seriously, some people out there are at least like 8 shots in, and it's completely insane to tell them all those 8 boosters won't protect them from the cicadas. That's right, the cicada variant will evade all of your boosters. What a slap in the face to those quadruple boosted. Yeah, sorry, it's not going to protect against this one. Need another boost there, buddy. And here's where it gets even crazier. People aren't even testing positive in large numbers. Once again, this thing is being picked up in wastewater samples. That's right, not hospitals overflowing. We're talking about sewage surveillance again. So the headline isn't even people getting sick. It's fraudulent PCR tests showing traces in wastewater. Everyone worked up over what's being detected in pipes underground. Quick, we need another lockdown because people's feces tested positive for cicada. But a short video here just to jog your memory about the crimes against humanity that took place a few years ago. And what killed people? It wasn't COVID, wasn't a fake virus going around. This is a nurse here exposing what she saw during the pandemic.
My background is in critical care, and I worked throughout the pandemic in the ICU directly caring for COVID patients. After 18 months of chaos, I left the bedside because I could not watch one more of my patients needlessly die due to deadly hospital protocols and the denial of life-saving medications. They were telling us that COVID was killing all of our patients, but I contend that this was not the case at all. But instead, it was the complete and total medical mismanagement of COVID that was killing them. If patients were dying of the virus itself, then why were we not pulling bodies from homes and off of the streets en masse? The reality is that patients, they're not dying at home. They're not dying on our streets. They are dying in our hospitals, and it is time that we start asking ourselves why.
Yep. Still happening too. Medical malpractice.
I walked away. But if there's one thing that still haunts me from my time working at the bedside, it is the faces. The faces of the patients that I knew didn't need to die. I can't get them out of my head. I had never been really comfortable with death. But you quickly begin to understand that death is a part of life. It comes for all of us eventually. And one of the first things I learned in nursing, especially working in the ICU, is that there are fates far worse than death. I considered it an honor to be able to provide compassion in a patient's last moments, to care for them. But this was different. These patients, they didn't die from a disease, they didn't die from a virus. These patients died in a hospital holocaust, and this shamelessly corrupt system used its well-intentioned nurses to carry out their sinister plan. The ventilators, they're the new gas chambers. I walked away, but not before I witnessed numerous alarming signs that these novel vaccines were causing great harm to my patients.
Well said there. I mean, it's still happening till this day. Leading cause of coincidence, people. That's right. Today on Well Ain't That Some Shit, as for long COVID, you know, the thing they've been trying to sell you on for years, well, now they've got the best solution ever. The WHO says around 65 million people worldwide have it, now called post-COVID condition or PCC, and now they're rolling out the fix. Turns out the answer is SSRIs. Yeah, you heard that right. The universities from BC to Ontario are doing studies on this now, and they're saying antidepressants work for long COVID. You know, your body falling apart after the COVID injection, feeling off for months. Here, change your brain chemistry. That's right. That should help. I mean, if SSRIs can get someone to shoot a school up, I'm pretty sure they can make you forget about your imaginary long COVID too. It's really hilarious because it goes exactly with the World Economic Forum 2030 food pyramid. That's right. Everybody check it out right here. Here at the top, at the very top, we've got the number one, of course, the number one food for the enslaved serfs. At the very top, we got antidepressants. That's right. That's number one on the menu. Number two, soy milk, because estrogen-filled men are a priority in their new world order. Number three, bugs, of course, you know, the best source of protein out there. Then followed by seed oils and microplastics. That's right, for your birthday, you'll have a cake made out of plastic bathed in seed oils. Bon appetit, you NPC. See where compliance gets you? Now, moving on here, more articles about a mysterious hum around the world. This is interesting. People are saying it sounds like a massive engine just idling 24/7, vibrating their homes, keeping them up all night. And what's the suspected source? Massive data centers. These things run nonstop, thousands of servers, giant cooling systems, fans, electrical equipment, all humming away around the clock. Some reports saying 55 to 90 decibels. Low frequency noise that travels for miles, apparently. That's crazy. Officials say they can't confirm the source yet, but everyone living near these places is saying the same thing. So now you got entire neighborhoods dealing with constant noise and sleep disruption. Stress too, all while these massive facilities keep expanding everywhere. Because of the constant expansion of AI, we can expect a loud-ass data center on every corner giving people long COVID soon, okay? But it could be something else. What could it be? I mean, people hearing a loud hum in their head, causing them to lose sleep, exploding head syndrome. See where I'm going with this? I mean, could it be a mass discombobulator weapon being beta tested on the people? I have theorized that here before because people are popping up with these symptoms like it's Savannah syndrome, you know, directed energy weapon symptoms too. And while all that's going on the ground, what's going on in the skies? And could there be a connection here? Because there's been a lot of meteor sightings lately, like an unusual amount. And they don't really look like meteors. There's a lot of footage going out right now that people are saying, oh, look, you know, Project Bluebeam has started, because this is kind of crazy. It gets even more interesting here because could they be testing for a Project Bluebeam scenario? My entire feed has been filled with weird things spotted in the sky lately. It's like endless. All over the world, they say we're in fireball season, aka UFO season, aka worldwide pedos need the ultimate distraction season. That's right, just a casual spike in massive fireballs lighting up the sky, sonic booms, but some of these objects just seem to be suspended in the sky, like clearly not moving, like not normal meteors, okay? So what are they? And in some cases, it shows fighter jets chasing them. And now aliens.gov is registered by the White House, at the same time. They're saying we're in times of disclosure and they're about to let us know the real truth about aliens. The same people that will never tell us the truth about 9/11, Epstein, JFK, are going to tell us all the truth about aliens. That's right. J.D. Vance, vice president of the U.S., said something really interesting about these aliens. He said they're actually demons. That's right, that the sightings people are seeing around the world are really demons. Crazy, right? What a distraction the alien psyop is, right? I mean, we do have demons in office right now. I mean, the real demons are the ones that start wars without Congress approval. As per Trump, of course, he even made it clear not to call it a war. Why? Because in quotes here, he says, it's for legal reasons I say military operation, because as a military op, I don't need any approvals. As a war, you're supposed to get approval from Congress, something like that. So I call it a military operation. Straight from the demon's mouth, folks. The ones that dropped the Tomahawk missile on an all-girls school, killing 150 kids. Yeah, those are the real extraterrestrial demons, okay? Some reports actually state Netanyahu tricked the U.S. into bombing this school, lying about it being a military base so that it forces Iran to fight till the end, out of revenge. Check this video out.
In this conflict in Iran, every time we seem to be headed for an off-ramp, there has been interjection by the Israelis to prevent that. It started with the killing of the Ayatollah right out of the gate. In conjunction with that, I believe the girls' school was hit. That's another message being sent, I think, by somebody.
I grieved when I saw that because it's awful, but I also was not entirely surprised. I assumed the target package came from the Israelis.
Right.
I don't know that, but it fits a pattern of behavior designed to keep the United States in far beyond our own interests.
Wouldn't be surprised one bit. Or could that be a psyop? I mean, it could be strictly for blood sacrifice. There's no way you would do that unless you had bloodlust, that you enjoyed the sight of children being killed. I mean, the entire war should be avoided for things like that alone. The fact that kids could die in mass like that should prevent any war. The fact you would go on with a war disregarding children's lives lets you know the ones that are starting these wars are purely demonic. So the same man that said this.
You also recently said that the Middle East would be better off with Gaddafi, Saddam Hussein, and Assad in power. How does...
I didn't say Assad, but we certainly have not gained anything with Gaddafi. And you look at what happened. I mean, look at Libya. Look at Iraq. Iraq used to be no terrorists. He would kill the terrorists immediately. It was like, now it's the Harvard of terrorism. Iraq. If you look at Iraq from years ago, I'm not saying he was a nice guy, he was a horrible guy, but it was a lot better than it is right now. Right now, Iraq is a training ground for terrorists. Right now, Libya, nobody even knows Libya. Frankly, there is no Iraq and there is no Libya. It's all broken up. They have no control. Nobody knows what's going on.
the world would be better off with Saddam Hussein
100%.
and Gaddafi in power?
100%. Now, as far as Assad is concerned,
what about the human rights abuses?
Let's talk. Well, you don't think they're happening now? They're worse now than they ever were. People are getting their heads chopped off. They're being drowned. Right now, they're far worse than they were ever under Saddam Hussein or Gaddafi. I mean, look what happened. Libya's a catastrophe. You look at our ambassador as an example, okay? Libya is a disaster. Iraq is a disaster. Syria is a disaster. The whole Middle East. And it all blew up around Hillary Clinton and around Barack Obama. It all blew up. Now, one thing about Assad, not a good guy. I understand that. But we're backing and spending billions and billions of dollars on backing rebels that we have no idea who they are. And a lot of people think they're ISIS. I happen to think they're ISIS, but who knows? But we're spending billions of dollars to get Assad out with people that we have no idea who they are. I don't think that's smart. We have to rebuild our country. Our country's falling to pieces. We have 19 trillion in debt. We have infrastructure that's a disaster. Our roadways, our airports, our schools, everything. We have to start thinking about ourselves. We're pouring trillions of dollars into the Middle East, and we have nothing for it. We have nothing.
Wow, people, what changed? The classic Israeli 180, am I right? Or is the new one a clone? Seriously, serious question. There's no way you can do that much of a 180 unless you're blackmailed, a clone, or demonic possession. Seriously, this is nuts. The world was better off when Saddam was in power. And now he's doing the classic Israeli 180 and is trying to topple the Iranian government. And many experts say, well, how do you know a more intolerant regime wouldn't replace them? Like, how would you know that? And of course, it's all about instability. Why? For demonic reasons, of course. The Iranian government has an idea as to why he's doing this. They said here in quotes, there is no doubt that President Trump is under pressure from Mossad due to his background in the Epstein case. He's Netanyahu's puppet. Now that's hilarious. That's not going to make him happy. No, so the president of peace just sent thousands of troops to the Middle East to find uranium. No one does peace like Donald J. Trump. Check this out.
I am the candidate of peace. I am peace.
I am peace. I am peace.
A vote for Donald Trump is a vote for a man who wants to end wars, not start them.
We do not want war with Iran. We actually want peace. The Iranians are clearly not very good at war. Perhaps they should follow President Trump's lead and give peace a chance.
Kamala is campaigning with warmongers like Liz Cheney. How do you think that is? She picks Liz Cheney, whose father virtually destroyed the Middle East. You know, Liz Cheney, she talks big, oh, I want war. She always wants war. Every time I was with her in the White House, we should attack this nation, that nation, nations that people never even heard of, we should attack. She's a big tough guy. She sits back in Washington, oh, we ought to go and attack Iran, Iraq. We're going to attack everybody. That's why I broke up with her. All she wanted to do is go to war with everybody. These war hawks, they want to draft your kids to die in wars, and they will never fight themselves. You know, we'll stay around the country for 15 years, just bomb the hell out of everybody, make everybody miserable. Nobody knows why we're there, you know, the wars that never end. These endless wars that we've been in, I've gotten us out of so many. We don't want to get into wars. We're tired of fighting. I'm the only president in the last 84 years that didn't start a war. Under Trump, we will have no more wars. No more wars. No more wars. We will have prosperity and peace. We will have prosperity and we will have peace. Remember, I'm the president of peace. They said, he will start a war. I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars. He's going to start a war. I said, no. My rhetoric is going to keep us out of wars. And that's what happened. My proudest legacy will be that of a peacemaker. That's what I want to be, a peacemaker. We will measure our success not only by the battles we win, but also by the wars that we end, and perhaps most importantly, the wars we never get into.
Okay, wow. I mean, someone called him Grandpa Glyphosate. And for the glyphosate makers to have immunity or the pardons of fraudsters. That's right. How crazy is all of that? I mean, he will not send your kids to die in another Middle Eastern war. Mark Levin, the man that had his arm around Trump, calling him the first Jewish president, now says, well, we have to have boots on the ground. I mean, how else would you find that uranium? You know, the ones they supposedly bombed into oblivion. Trump just told Americans to watch Mark Levin tonight. Levin's message was, we need boots on the ground in Iran to seize their uranium. The president of the United States is using a cable TV host to prepare the public for a ground invasion. Well, I think we should put these boots on the ground first. Maybe throw in Barron Trump and, Trump's other sons too. Of course not, you silly wabbit. Dying's for you and yours only, okay? I mean, literally. Look at this. Channel 12 reports that if the U.S. launches a ground operation in Iran, Israeli troops will not take part in the combat, just as the U.S. sends about 20,000 troops to the Middle East. This is unreal. No new wars, huh? You fell for that one? This is getting wild. Families of U.S. soldiers hold their loved ones tightly, crying and heartbroken as they prepare for deployment, not knowing if they will ever see them again. The demons are once again doing all of this for blood sacrifice. That's right, both sides are funded by the same people. It's always been that way. Who do you think invented and funded Hamas? Well, now it's out in the open. In a new documentary exposing Bibi Netanyahu, this one's crazy. It's actually called The Bibi Files. That is absolutely crazy. Over $1 billion into the hands of Hamas. You know, in the documentary, they slip in, he didn't create Hamas. Yes, they did. Of course, they created and funded them, helped fund them and continued funding them because there is no better opposition than controlled opposition. And they are the masters of that. The Mossad motto, by way of deception, we will do war. John Doe with the heavy hitter post on X right here. All this time, the Illuminati was just AIPAC? That's hilarious, okay? Miriam Madelson gave Trump over $200 million. I mean, I'm not sure if that, the blackmail, demonic possession, I'm not sure if the money changed him, but clearly there's been a clear 180 of all these politicians that get into office. Can you believe that? Maybe it is the money. I don't know. But the Illuminati being AIPAC is absolute hilarity, okay? Now give the wheel of war lies a spin. And what do we got today, people? Well, we got a lot going on. So while everyone's locked in on missiles and headlines, the real story is what this is doing to food and energy behind the scenes. Farmers across the world are really feeling it right now. Fertilizer prices are exploding. Supply is getting cut off, and planting season is right around the corner. These guys aren't dealing with theory. They're looking at real losses. Some can't even get fertilizer at all. Others can't afford it. That means less crops going into the ground and smaller harvests coming out of it. And this isn't some small disruption either. Around 40% of global urea trade is now at risk. And nearly half of the sulfur used to make fertilizer moves through the same region that's now shut down. That's a massive chunk of the global system getting squeezed all at once. And it all ties back to one thing. Iran has declared the Strait of Hormuz closed. Okay, only a few ships are passing through right now, and there's a big toll that's making Iran richer. Okay, there's like $2 million toll per ship now. One of the most important shipping routes on the planet. They're saying no ships in or out if you're tied to Israel or the US. This is already happening. 2 Chinese container ships tried to leave the Gulf and got turned back. Ship tracking confirms it. Right now, about 8 million barrels of oil per day are offline. That's not a slowdown, that's a complete stop. That's insane. And this is where it gets even more obvious. The same reports are saying oil is whipsawing. Up, down, again. You'll see the markets doing this over and over. Some people are saying, oh, Trump is a genius. It's, going back down. See, trust the plan. But then they just shoot back up again. Markets are pricing in peace, in quotes. Okay. So while at the same time warning that prices could explode higher at any moment, governments are tapping reserves just to keep things calm temporarily. That's not stability. That's intervention. Okay, that's more control, because if oil just went straight up and stayed there, people would panic immediately. But when it moves like this, when it swings, people stay confused. Businesses can't plan. Supply chains can't stabilize, and the system never fully settles. And they're admitting what happens next. If oil hits $150 a barrel and stays there, a global recession will happen. Okay, diesel shortages hitting transport, food supply chains breaking down, fertilizer production getting crushed as well. They're even warning about critically low supply levels right now. So what you're watching isn't a market reacting, it's a system being pushed back and forth. Just enough pressure to destabilize everything, but not enough to collapse it all at once. Oil prices are reacting exactly how you'd expect. Brent pushing toward 111 a barrel, WTI already over at 96. This month alone is shaping up to be one of the biggest price jumps ever recorded. At the same time, Russia is getting hit on the other side too. Ukrainian drone strikes are targeting Baltic port terminals, and now Russia is warning buyers they might not be able to deliver at all. And just in time. I mean, how coincidental is this? Mass casualty event declared after a Ukrainian drone strike hit one of Russia's largest petrochemical complexes in, I'm not going to try to pronounce that one, okay? I don't know what city that is. You can try and pronounce it yourself, okay? Go ahead and give that one a try. There's no way that's an actual word. Unbelievable. They must be doing that on purpose so you can't pronounce it on a podcast. Are they manufacturing a total energy collapse here? Is everyone in on it? From Iran to Russia? This is getting crazy, people. Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov says, we are in the middle of reshaping of the new world order. Right now, this restructuring looks more like disruption. The fight for power across the world is fierce. Interesting, huh? Using the words restructuring, disruption, and new world order looks like exactly what we're seeing around the world. Total disruption, energy collapse taking place, restructuring of world superpowers over this energy crisis. Another major supply line here getting squeezed too. So you got two places it's happening, okay? Hormuz in the Middle East and the Baltic ports in Europe, both getting hit, both cutting off the supply at the same time. There is no backup system ready to replace that kind of volume. So things are going to start escalating really fast here if something doesn't change. Fertilizer production itself is already shutting down. Qatar has halted output at a major facility. Algeria is cutting gas supply to fertilizer plants. Parts of Europe are already seeing shutdowns. So production is getting hit directly. And fertilizer isn't something you can stockpile forever. Most of these facilities only have about 10 to 30 days of storage before supply runs out completely. We're already pushing into that window right now. This hits everything downstream. Fertilizer production depends heavily on natural gas and energy. When energy gets disrupted, fertilizer gets hit right after. When fertilizer drops, crop yields drop with it. Then food prices follow. You're already seeing that in places like Africa and parts of Asia. Basic food prices climbing fast. Fuel shortages making it harder to move goods. Farmers struggling to keep irrigation running. Some areas are already seeing crops sitting in fields because they don't even have diesel to harvest or transport them. Even countries that seem insulated aren't escaping it either. The US is looking at rising food inflation just from fertilizer alone. And if this carries on into the summer, the price increases will explode. Japan gets about 73% of its oil through Hormuz. South Korea around 70%. China roughly 40 to 45%. India over 40%. And now China's own ships are getting turned around in the main spot they depend on. The largest energy importer in the world can't even move its supply. And once fuel costs rise, everything connected to food moves with it. Transportation and storage, all of it gets more expensive, which means food becomes harder to produce and more expensive to access. 300 plus gas stations are out of oil in France, as seen on this map right here, and it keeps climbing every day. This is crazy. And get this post said something really interesting right here. Make of this what you will, but Jekov Kanani says, I just finished a call with a Canadian woman who is a government employee and wants to move to Mexico because she is scared. The things she told me are terrifying. The Canadian government is intentionally inflating the currency, making it increasingly difficult for Canadians to survive. Once Canadians lose their jobs and businesses, the government will introduce a central bank digital currency, CBDC, essentially free money similar to CERB during COVID, presented as a solution to a crisis they created, with a 30-day expiration date. Number 3, the government is purchasing homes at a record pace to house Canadians, so that when vaccine mandates are imposed again, compliance will be mandatory. Otherwise, Canadians could risk losing their housing. Every year, 145,000 Canadians declare bankruptcy, 250,000 homeless, 1.6 million unemployed, 2.2 million rely on the food bank, and now over 100,000 assisted suicides. More than the World War II Canadian death toll, Canada is experiencing its highest emigration rate since 1967, with over 5.5 million Canadians living outside the country as of 2025. Unvaccinated Canadians, the true heroes, can't fight a tyrannical system, especially when the majority of Canadians back the government. Inflation is skyrocketing, the cost of living is insane, high taxes, crime, censorship, gender ideology, and the New World Order. He's saying Canada isn't just cooked, it's deep fried in canola oil, and he's making the claim that a lot of people are trying to move to Mexico because of this. And maybe what happened in Mexico was a psyop to get people scared of going there. You never know. Maybe they want people remaining in their totalitarian country while this new world takes place. But get this, they have plans of turning all of North America, Central America too, into a North American Union. Trump announces his plan called Greater North America, which includes Greenland, Canada, Mexico, and spans till the Panama Canal.
That is why President Trump has drawn a new strategic map from Greenland to the Gulf of America to the Panama Canal and its surrounding countries. At the Department of War, we call this strategic map the Greater North America.
It's happening. The Club of Rome book did go over this almost exactly. A North American Union. Basically, the entire world broken up into a few sections, ruled by the same people. Forget about 100 and something countries. No, they want like 4 sections. Okay, people easier to control under a Palantir control system. The IRS just contracted Palantir to build an AI-driven audit selection tool. It's already in its pilot program and will use AI to rank high-value audit targets. Yeah, great. The Trump administration has officially merged tax enforcement with the national security state. That's why they say citizens will be on their best behavior. Larry Ellison said this word for word, and now we know why.
The police will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording, watching and recording everything that's going on. Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on. And it's unimpeachable. The cars have cameras on them. I think we have a squad car here someplace. But those kind of applications using AI, if we can use AI, and we're using AI to monitor the video. So if that altercation that occurred in Memphis, the chief of police would be immediately notified. It's not people that are looking at those cameras, it's AI that's looking at the camera. No, you can't do this. It would be like a shooting. That's going to be immediately, an event that's immediately, an alarm's going to go off, it's going to be, and we're going to have supervision. In other words, every police officer is going to be supervised at all times.
Welcome to the dystopian AI surveillance state. Unbelievable. And it's happening, folks. So the total collapse is coming, and they have a backup plan, a alternative system in place when you run to them for the solution. Once again, 15-minute cities coming at the same time. Mark Carney announced $3.8 billion to lock up 30% of Canada by 2030. That's Carney's priority. 15-minute cities incoming, Mark Nixon says right here.
This is an ambitious new plan that invests $3.8 billion of new funds across three pillars: protecting nature, building Canada well, and valuing nature and mobilizing capital.
Sustainability, folks. Remember the 1990 UN documents about wildlands and biodiversity. They're still going along with it.
Nature is a force for our well-being. When we're protecting nature, we're protecting Canadians.
They are using nature as an excuse to trap you into your 15-minute city, tell you can't go anywhere. There's going to be no-go zones, buffer zones, surrounded by military in order to protect nature, in quotes. Total BS. It's to keep you in your city. They're using it as an excuse.
The air we breathe, the water we drink, the rivers we swim in. That's why today we are putting in place enduring mechanisms to achieve that goal of protecting 30% of our lands and waters by 2030.
Yep. No-go zones incoming. Now, because it's getting so bad, countries start doing this here, and now we're seeing this happen, okay? Export restrictions have begun. Supply hoarding. Countries are moving to protect their own markets first. That's already starting, and we're seeing it happen. Now, like Catherine Austin Fitz said in the last video I played in the last show, if this carries on into the next planting cycles, you're looking at a much bigger problem here. Some estimates are pointing to food prices rising anywhere between 60 to 100% globally, with tens of millions more people pushed into food insecurity. And on top of all that, weather isn't even stable right now, they say. They're already talking about El Nino conditions returning, which means droughts in some regions and flooding in others. Are they using geoengineering at the same time to make all of this worse? Like, obviously, that stacks directly on top of everything else already breaking down. When it rains, it pours, as they say. Well, especially when you manufacture storms and floods with HARP technology. But we're watching a chain reaction move from energy into fertilizer, from fertilizer into food, and from food into worldwide instability. Is all of this a coincidence? You're telling me all of those guys at the top had no idea this would happen if they started a war with Iran and the Strait of Hormuz gets shut down? Just like COVID, clearly coordinated. And now you're starting to see how this plays out in real time. Australia just ordered emergency fuel from the United States for the first time in decades, from gasoline, diesel to even jet fuel, which doesn't happen unless supply chains are totally breaking down. 6 oil shipments from Asia were canceled outright. Malaysia, Singapore, South Korea, The usual suppliers couldn't deliver, so now they're scrambling and pulling fuel from the US and anywhere else they can find it. Think about what that means. A country like Australia, which is fully dependent on global supply chains, suddenly can't rely on its own normal routes and is being forced to reroute energy halfway across the world just to keep things running. And it's already triggering panic buying. Officials are talking about needing fuel dashboards just to track where shortages are happening across the country. That's how crazy things are getting there. This is what it looks like when the system is starting to collapse. Shipments are getting canceled and governments have to step in. And people are starting to react before the shelves even go empty. You start seeing dependency get exposed in real time. Countries that built everything on global flow suddenly realizing how fragile it is when that flow gets disrupted. And now what comes next? Because there's one more layer to all of this that could be coming, and that could make things a lot worse. A massive cyber attack. And they've been warning us, especially here in Canada, that this is imminent. As Klaus Schwab warned, a large-scale cyber event could bring a complete halt to power, supply, transportation, hospital services, everything that keeps society running day to day. And now you've got Putin basically echoing the same thing. He's saying this energy crisis could hit like COVID 2.0, with supply chains breaking down and pressure hitting energy, metals, and fertilizer all at once. The Strait of Hormuz disruption alone is already pushing a global energy crisis, and even the WTO is calling this one of the worst trade disruptions in decades. Countries are already reacting, cutting energy use, and in some cases, rationing is coming. And even he admits no one really knows how far this is going to go. And right as that warning is being pushed, you've got lawmakers in New York introducing a bill that would turn off lights across the whole city every single night. They're calling it the Dark Skies Protection Act, framing it as something that will help save energy and help birds navigate. Yeah, just, blackouts every night for the birds. That's right, we need to do it to save the birds. And what it actually does is normalize the idea of entire cities going dark on schedule. Landmarks to businesses, whole sections of the city blacked out between 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. And they say safety lighting will stay on. But a lot of people are pointing out the obvious here. You're creating large pockets of darkness in one of the biggest cities in the world. Clearly about conditioning people to accept controlled blackouts as something normal. So when a real grid failure hits or a cyber event knocks power out completely, the public has already been walked through this concept, okay? Like predictive programming. Limiting movement all under the banner of sustainability and safety. So at the same time, energy rationing is happening around the world, energy sectors getting hit at the same time, and they're trying this at the same time in New York? And they've already been hinting at it, okay? They're testing scenarios just like this around the world, running simulations, and we've seen it happen. Cuba, dealing with widespread blackouts, and now footage coming out of southern Orange County in California. Massive power outage there. Hundreds of thousands of people were without electricity all at once. The European Commission has urged people to work from home, drive and fly less, and for EU countries to urgently roll out renewables, as it warned of a prolonged energy crisis as a result of the conflict in the Gulf. I mean, this is getting crazy, people. Like beta tests happening all over the place at the same time. Once power goes, everything tied to it goes with it. And when you stack that on top of everything else happening, energy, food, transportation, that pushes the whole system right to the edge. They want people to struggle so much they stop questioning anything and start accepting whatever solution is put right in front of them. And that's when the next system gets introduced. These demons love darkness, huh? Seriously, in the beginning, God created light, but these Luciferians worship darkness, so they're trying to bring that to us. Endless blackouts are expected, but also lack of sunlight due to constant spraying of the skies. All these billionaires racing to block the sun, with these geoengineering programs. This is like problem, reaction, solution here, but this is like more demonic solution coming after the solution. They say the problem is climate change, have the sheeples demand action, then rain down a mist of toxins for you to breathe. Okay, that's the solution. The geoengineering is meant to block sunlight, and we all know why, okay? Because the sunlight helps heal people in various ways, from helping people detox to helping the production of certain hormones, curing people of many diseases. All proven too. So it's no wonder why they want to block it. But get this. This one is crazy. I'm not even sure if this is just made up or a psyop. I'm hoping it is. You ask, wait, but what about the demonic controllers pulling it off? Wouldn't they need sunlight? Well, there's a new startup that lets you order sunlight. Like, what? Yeah, this is what I mean. Problem, reaction, demonic solution, followed by a even more demonic solution. A startup called Reflect Orbital is now pushing this idea of sunlight on demand, planning to launch tens of thousands of massive mirrors into orbit. This is what they say, people, that can literally reflect sunlight back down onto Earth at night. The CEO says the first versions would create the brightness of a full moon for a few minutes. But the real plan is way bigger. Charging people to light up entire areas whenever they want, farms, cities, even solar fields, so they can keep generating power after dark. This is where it gets even more wild here. They're already talking about pricing it at around $5,000 per hour for just a single mirror. That's limited brightness, like basically moonlight, okay? And likely only available to governments and corporations, they say, locking in the massive contracts with Reflect Orbital. And if the average person wants it, it's not going to be $5,000 an hour for you. No. So now something as basic as light becomes controlled too. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you think sunlight was free? Stupid sheeples. Get ready for price tags on oxygen too. You know that's coming next. Bags of oxygen sold at the local grocery store. Your CBDCs can buy it. Now, the obvious question is, wouldn't this flood the night sky with artificial light? Mess with sleep cycles, animals, entire ecosystems. And somehow, because they say it's coming from space, it doesn't even fall under normal environmental review. Isn't that crazy? Let that sink in. But could this be done from some artificial sun that we don't know about? They've been talking about this for years, okay? They're building this artificial sun. Some countries have completed building their artificial sun. And now suddenly you've got companies openly talking about delivering sunlight on demand. You block out the real sun with geoengineering, and then you sell people back the synthetic version. That is some Rothschild shit right there, folks. Seriously, only the Rothschilds or the Rockefellers could come up with something like that. Seriously, can you think of anything more evil? Cut off the natural source that's been here forever, then turn around and charge people for a replacement? Yeah, it's only $5,000 an hour for governments or big businesses, but for the average person, you already know how this goes. That turns into something completely out of reach. Imagine a malnourished human, extremely sick and lacking real vitamin D, spending their last $20,000 in their savings account for 1 minute of sunlight. Welcome to the New World Order, folks. The 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda. That's so dark. Oh my God. I don't think we've even seen something that dark in horror movies. Seriously, they should make a movie with that plot. Never mind, there's no need to. It's happening in real life. How genius is a worldwide energy lockdown, an energy crisis that leads to constant blackouts? That's the world they're quietly preparing, and at the same time, everything is being pushed into digital systems? Come on, you can make the connection here yourself. AI-controlled infrastructure, everything digital. So you have to ask, why move everything into a fully digital system if the grid itself is unstable? Because the instability is the key component, okay? It's the feature. Imagine the level of control that creates. The people in charge can shut off the grid at any time. No power means no transactions, no movement, no access to anything tied to that system. You're completely locked out instantly. That's not just control, that's total dependency. It's actually horrific when you think about it. Now let's get into digital price tags and what's happening right now, okay? A lot of people are angry because AI-powered digital price tags are being rolled out in stores now. These aren't just normal price updates either. The technology allows prices to change in real time, and in some cases, even adjust based on who you are, your location, your shopping habits. Personally tailored shopping prices based on social credit scores? Yeah. Oh my God. You thought ordering sunlight was horrific. This is just as sick. So it's based on your shopping habits or how likely you are to pay. It's being called surveillance pricing. Lawmakers and unions are starting to push back too, warning that once the system is fully in place, customers lose any sense of price stability. The price of something could change from one moment to the next, every second, okay? Or even be different between two people standing in the same aisle. Workers are also expected to be replaced or reduced as everything becomes automated. Retailers are trying to frame it as efficiency, saying it helps with stocking, reduces labor, and keeps prices competitive. But a lot of people are pointing out the obvious direction this is going to go. Prices becoming personalized, okay? Constantly optimized to extract as much as possible from each individual. The infrastructure of a social credit system with personalized AI-tailored price tags are incoming. Digital labels are being installed here. AI systems are being tested, and the shift away from fixed pricing is already underway. And if hyperinflation kicks in, like many are expecting, this system becomes even more important for them. Imagine, taking something from the shelf and it doubles in price by the time you get to the till. Okay, prices will change constantly, sometimes multiple times a day. And that's exactly what these digital systems allow. I mean, the same time digital prices come out, we see this. Headline says, expect extremely high grocery prices, farmer warns as diesel costs rise. Now you've got farmers warning straight up that grocery prices could jump 25 to 50% by September. And it's not random, it all comes back to diesel. Diesel has doubled, and that runs everything, okay? Planting, harvesting, transportation, every single step from farm to the shelf. Fertilizer is getting squeezed too, and that hits a bit slower, but it's coming either way. And what triggered it? Disruptions in the Strait of Hormuz, one of the most important shipping routes on the planet. That's a huge chunk of the world's oil and fertilizer moving through one spot, and now it's getting restricted. So right on time, you got costs spiking, and suddenly the entire food system starts wobbling. Digital price tags at the same time? Yeah, something crazy is about to happen, people. So now we've got rising costs, like drastically, and at the exact same time, digital pricing infrastructure rolling out that can adjust prices instantly. Not weekly anymore or even daily, instantly, like every second. Yeah, welcome to the new age of hyperinflation. And the average person, they just see their grocery bill exploding and think it's random. But when everything from fuel to food to pricing systems all move together like this, it's not random at all. That's a system being set up to move fast when things really start breaking. And once you got pricing, behavior, and access all being controlled digitally, the next step is obvious. You remove the human layer entirely. So the same people that poison the masses with endless injections, the people funding these vaccines are literally saying AI will replace humans soon, okay? We'll see if humans are needed at all, Bill Gates says. Soldiers sent to die for no reason in another Middle Eastern conflict that benefits no one. Why do you think that is? Depopulation, strictly. Getting rid of those useless eaters, as they say. Now those same people are rolling out the human replacements in real time, Come on. Entire warehouses being replaced with full automation from retail, food, logistics, everything. The same system setting the prices is now the same system running the whole damn store. Just look at this insanity right here. AI-powered humanoid robots showing up at the White House, walking out with Melania Trump. She's basically walking out your replacement right here, okay? After her husband poisoned billions of people with Operation Warp Speed. This was for a summit about education and children. Think about that. They're already normalizing these machines in the highest levels of government, presenting them like they're just another tool, something friendly and helpful. But this is what that system looks like when it's fully built out and ready to go, okay? That system will be total hell because, no employees to question anything. There's going to be no human judgment, just machines executing whatever the system decides in real time. It's exactly like Skynet in Terminator. Look at this right here. Look at the dystopian hell that's happening in China. China just released footage of their robot wolves running simulated street battles with micro missiles and grenade launchers. Well, they're going to need these things for all the anti-vaxxers, okay? Deny any future poison injection, and you'll have a swarm of these right on your front door in no time. It says here they come with strong mobility, carry up to 25 kilos and clear 30-centimeter obstacles with ease, and have a collective brain, in quotes. Real-time data sharing enables them to coordinate, decide, and act together. Future is looking real bright, people. You run a red light, you'll have one of these things send a missile right through your windshield. But this is what that system looks like when it's fully built out. No employees to question anything, like I said, no human judgment, just machines executing whatever the system decides in real time. And the one thing people should be asking is, what happens when this gets hacked, right? Now you're talking about real world systems, power, access, machines actually moving around. Then you see what's already being tested. China showing off robotic wolf units running street combat simulations. These things move in packs and share data instantly. But picture that tied into everything else. No human oversight, just a system running exactly how it's programmed. They'll just say AI is controlling all of these things. But if that system gets compromised and hacked, what exactly stops it? Since there won't be any human in charge anymore, the system will just continue on like this? Who are you going to voice your concerns to? ChatGPT? But whatever comes next, whether it's total energy and economic collapse or a full AI-driven takeover, the DICs are already fully prepared. They know it's coming. Palantir CEO Alex Karp quietly moved into what they call a billionaire bunker in Indian Creek, Miami, dropping around $46 million on a property months before relocating the company's headquarters there. And this place is not just some rich neighborhood, okay? It has its own private police force and a single guarded bridge controlling who gets in and out. And he's not alone. You've got people like Zuckerberg, Bezos, and Kushner all buying into that same secured island at the same time in these controlled zones, blocked off from the normies, okay? In some cases, surrounded by moats of fire and heavily protected. So while the rest of us deal with total economic collapse, these guys are racing to build billionaire bunkers. It all comes down to this right here, okay? It looks like we're in the end game. That's why they were building them, okay? We wondered why they were all racing to build these billionaire bunkers, their own private military. Now we know. And Alex Karp, head of Palantir, has a few words for you conspiracy theorists out there.
Conspiracy theorists, you may hate this, but there's one person protecting your right to be a conspiracy theorist that actually has a seat at the table, and that person is me. You may not want to hear that truth, but it is fucking true. Yeah. And maybe do a little more reading before you pontificate on your absurd and obviously ill-informed and many times stupid opinions. Okay, so because you're attacking the person who's protecting you, idiot. It's fucking so stupid.
Oh wow, says the guy building a billionaire bunker to keep all of the normies out when the system collapses. From the same guy that is building an all-seeing eye, working with all governments, law enforcement agencies, building a social credit system on the people. Palantir now controls 30 plus federal agencies, DHS-wide data fusion, health surveillance infrastructure, master list database of all Americans, law enforcement pre-crime intelligence, and now the Pentagon is making Palantir AI its core military system. One company running government, running the military, running surveillance on all of us. What could possibly go wrong? He's helping protect you, you conspiracy theorist idiot. That's right. Best thing ever, MAGA tunnel vision. All they see is deport the illegals, forgetting all of the other things: domestic extremist labeling, unaccountable enforcement apparatus, militarized policing, normalized, algorithmic pre-crime systems, biometric tracking, Palantir database, technocratic surveillance state, as you see here. And that's where I'm going to leave it, folks. If you like what you see here, if you want to support this channel, it's greatly appreciated. You help out. Thank you to everyone out there that sent a donation. After last podcast, I told you guys financially it's not going too well over here on this side. So thank you to everyone that sent a donation. You greatly helped me more than you can imagine. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. For anyone else out there that does want to help, links are in the description of this video for ways to support. Easiest way is PayPal, one-time donations. My e-transfer link is in the description of this video. Purchase the Eyes Wide Open coffee from Gustavus, Alaska, my favorite coffee. You will be helping fund this show. Crypto wallets to all my crypto people if you want to help fund that way. No P.O. box anymore, so I apologize for that. But if you do want to become a monthly subscriber on Patreon or Subscribestar, you will be the MVP of the show and help fund it and keep it going. So big shout out to you, to all the people that sent one-time donations, my Patreon, my Subscribestar people. You are the main reason this keeps coming out, because without your support, really, this would end. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, people. I love all of you. Thank you. Until next week, folks. Until next time, this is Steve Eyes. You're on the Eyes is Watching channel. Signing off.